The play on the field, the court, and the ice is just one part of sports. Behind every game are the people hard at work so we can enjoy the action. They're the owners, administrators, agents, broadcasters, and vendors who bring the games to life. Meet them when you go Behind the Game with Patrick Klinger and Dave Bowden.
Welcome to Behind the Game, presented by KLN Family Brands, producers of great products for people and pets, including Wiley Wallaby Licorice and Sweet Chaos Popcorn, as well as Nutrisource Pet Foods. I'm Patrick Klinger, president of Agile Marketing Partners. My regular co-host, Dave Bowden, is sunning himself someplace down in Florida. That's a visual you probably didn't need. But we're going to go behind the game today with two people who are really helping shape the future of hockey in Minnesota. Quite simply, Natalie Darwitz is one of the most accomplished athletes in Minnesota history. A three-time Olympic medalist and a member of the Hockey Hall of Fame. Her list of awards could fill really pretty much an entire episode of Behind the Game. Today, Natalie is bringing that same passion and leadership to a new role as CEO of the proposed Minnesota Hockey Hall of Fame. Alongside her is Andrew Heydt. He's the president of the Minnesota Hockey Hall of Fame and a longtime sports executive with nearly 2 decades of experience across the Minnesota Twins, Wild, Vikings, and Major League events. Andrew brings deep expertise in team operations, fan engagement, and community leadership as the project comes to life. Natalie, Andrew, welcome to Behind the Game.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thank you. It'll be a fun discussion.
Yeah, fantastic. Let's get started with you, Natalie.
Yep.
How did the idea for the Minnesota Hockey Hall of Fame come to be?
Yeah, it wasn't either of our ideas, sadly, but at least we were approached with it. We were brought by a group of investors, the idea. The original idea came from, unfortunately, he was a big Packers fan, and apparently there's a really nice Packer Hall of Fame in Lambeau, and now that he lives here and his kids went through hockey, he was scratching his head, why do we not have a Minnesota Hockey Hall of Fame with our rich history and all the traditions and all the people that have paved the way and have become successful through the sport of hockey? How do we not have one? And so about a year and a half ago, we were approached with the idea, and we kind of were scratching our heads too, like, I can't believe we don't have one. And all the great people you can enshrine and all the great history you could tell within the walls of the Hall of Fame. So we heard the initial pitch and we were excited and became on board, and we are now the driving force to make it come to reality with our hockey background. And he mentioned, you're in a few Hockey Hall of Fames, why don't you run one? And I said, great, but we also need somebody with a business acumen, which is Andrew, to help that out too. So that's kind of how the idea came to fruition, and we have been gas on the pedal ever since we came on board, and we've done a lot of positive and gained a lot of traction in a short amount of time.
Yeah, fantastic. Andrew, what gap did you see that made you, Natalie, the investors, others, believe that this project needed to exist? Because there is a U.S. Hockey Hall of Fame that exists in Eveleth.
Correct, yeah. And when we were presented with the idea or the concept, and then we started to talk to the hockey community as well, it all kind of went back to, how does this not exist? We're in 2025 and now 2026, and we have 100+ years of hockey storytelling to tell with not only the professional level, both men and women, but really the grassroots hockey as well. So we want to really be that driving force to tell the story and really create that community hub with our location, and be that driving force to tell the story from all levels, whether you're just putting your skates on for the first time or you hoisted the Stanley Cup trophy. And that's what's been fun with an ambassador group now, over 150 men and women that have had success and was really important in building what hockey is in Minnesota. Everyone from Lou Nanny to Zach Parisi to Chrissy Wendell to across the board. It's been fun to really connect with them and have them support the project as well.
Well, let's talk a little bit more about the story that you mentioned. How would you describe, Natalie, really the core mission of what the Hockey Hall of Fame, the Minnesota Hockey Hall of Fame, will be? That's
a great question. I think it kind of breaks into 3 different phases of generations. It's celebrate the past, the people who have paved the way to make this great game what it is in our state. It's to connect the present moment. So I don't think there's anything right now, if you ask a retired NHLer or hockey player, what do they miss the most? They miss connection. They miss the locker room atmosphere. So it's connecting the current present moment and growing the game. And then most importantly, I think it's inspiring the future, is what it's all about. It's growing the game, getting more boys and girls involved, and getting them to dream. I think that's the biggest thing, is when you get a certain age, you stop dreaming. The dream doesn't end, and we want to invoke those feelings through the Minnesota Hockey Hall of Fame, that when you walk through here, young or old, you're going to be inspired, you're going to get goosebumps, you're going to have nostalgia, and you're going to want to dream and have a smile on your face when you walk out.
I'm guessing you're going to be one of the original inductees into the
No way. No way. Yeah, no. There's way more people before me that belong in there, yeah.
You know, as I was preparing for this and I was looking at the awards and accomplishments that you had, it was really, really remarkable. I think, you know, Natalie Darwitz is a name that many of us know. Anybody who follows sports, and certainly hockey in Minnesota, you know the name. But I was even surprised at how many accomplishments you have. It's really remarkable.
Well, thank you. I came into hockey at a good time, and I think the players now who are playing in the PWHL, they would say they've come in at a good time. That would be a phenomenal thing that I wish we had, was a professional league. We didn't, but I'm fortunate enough. I think all about life is pushing the path forward, and that's something I did, and now the generation now pushes it forward even more, so that little boys and girls around the rink have it even better when they're at that age. But we have so much rich history. We have so many people that paved the path before me. Don't expect anyone of my age or younger to go in anytime soon. So we're gonna do it the right way and make sure we get the right people honored first.
If I had a vote, you'd be an original inductee. So what does the Hall of Fame mean to you personally, beyond your personal accomplishments? But you personally, as somebody who's been engaged in hockey in a really significant way in this state for so long.
Yeah, I'm just one of a few that I feel the game has done so much for me that everything becomes full circle. And so this is a way to really honor the state and honor our great game. And so not only will we have a 5-wing museum, but what better to grow the game than to have an actual ice sheet where we can then put mouth to action and grow the game on an action-oriented level. So I'm really excited about that. Andrew can talk about the event venue piece, which that's his kind of baby. Mine's the ice rink. But again, it's giving back to the great game. And if you talk to our ambassadors, the number one thing they want to do right now when they're done playing is they want to get back. They want to be behind the bench. They want to grow the game. They want to get their kids out there. They want to get kids out there who don't have access to it so that they can enjoy it. Because once they're out there, that's how, if I look back at my core memories, there's a good chance they have to do and revolve around hockey. And so we want to give a place to do that.
Well, I've made it clear that I think you should be in the Hall of Fame. Andrew, tell us a little bit how the inductees will be selected. In a state with such rich hockey history, it's not going to be easy.
Yeah, and that's one where, as we made our public announcement back in August for the Minnesota Hockey Hall of Fame, and we are an official nonprofit as well, 501c3. Now we're going into the development phases, and so when we get the building built, then we will, plan on our first induction ceremony. But one of our partners or ambassadors is the Hockey Hall of Fame out in Toronto, and of course we know Natalie is in that one as well. So they will be a huge component to helping us decide how that committee is formed, how the induction process will happen. But we really want to make sure that we're up and running, and that first induction class gets that full experience from the beautiful facility that we're going to be building as well.
Okay, terrific. Natalie, how do you balance honoring the elite achievements of so many people who've been involved in hockey in the state against, celebrating also grassroots movement and community hockey? Because that too has a tremendously rich and proud history in the state.
Actually, when we talk about the Minnesota Hockey Hall of Fame and people come up and share their excitement, the number one thing they're excited about to hear about is the grassroots. I think that's the largest group that they feel part of it, right? Everyone grew up either, playing hockey, lacing up your skates for your community, having the community rivalries, whether that was Egan against Burnsville or Jefferson against Edina. That's what it hits the most people is the grassroots level. So we're going to hit all areas of hockey from grassroots. You talk about high school hockey, selling out an NHL venue every March is quite remarkable, and the rest of the nation always scratches their heads at how popular it is here. So that's something to be proud of that we want to honor. Obviously, we're the leading nation with the most NCAA programs. We have 30 NCAA programs, Division I and Division III. Division III gets lost in the shuffle. The MIAC is a phenomenal conference and shells out all Americans every year. So that's going to be talked about. And then we have obviously professional and Olympians that have come in our homegrown from Minnesota. So the grassroots is huge. Most people are the most excited about that when they talk to them. And we're going to do our best to highlight those communities. There, like you mentioned, there's so many people to honor. And most people think a Hall of Fame, they think the legendary players. Let's not forget about the coaches, the referees, the unsung heroes. And by unsung heroes, those are maybe a Zamboni driver, maybe a hockey mom who raised money for a second sheet of ice. We're going to kind of morph into our own Minnesota Hockey Hall of Fame and honor those people that are the unsung heroes that you might not be able to go into Toronto Hall of Fame or normal Hall of Fames. We want to honor them because without that, we wouldn't have the great game that we do today, and that's really important to honor.
We mentioned the U.S. Hockey Hall of Fame earlier. That's in Eveleth. There was some discussion about moving that from Eveleth to St. Paul. I think the Wild at one point had coveted that. Can you tell us where that stands? Is sort of gone by the wayside? And how are you collaborating with the U.S. Hockey Hall of Fame?
Yeah, it all goes back to when we started to get the news out. It's how do we not have one? Because everyone assumed that was the Minnesota Hockey Hall of Fame. And yes, it's in Eveleth, and yes, it's in Minnesota, and yes, there's a lot of Minnesota presence. And again, Natalie's in that one as well. But
of course she is.
But we made it very clear, and we've made it very clear since we made the announcement, that we're not here to compete. We're here to help grow the game. And when the time is right, we will link arms with all big groups like that and say, how can we help grow your story and you help us grow ours, and really collaborate just to build the game of hockey, because that's our mission.
Yeah. Have the Minnesota Wild been supportive of this initiative?
Yeah, they're aware of our project, and I think it goes back to the phases that we're in. And we made that public announcement. We're really striving to get those ambassadors on board now, because there is so much hockey success from other levels and other, the TJ Oshis of the world that have played for other teams that have lifted Stanley Cup trophies. And so they're aware of our project. And when the time is right, we hope to link arms with them as well. And they're the NHL franchise in the state of Minnesota right now. But it goes back to the North Stars, the Saints, and every other league and team that has really sculpted the history of hockey in Minnesota. So it's going to be completely encompassing on all levels and all teams, really.
Fantastic. Natalie, when someone walks into the Hall of Fame for the first time, what do you hope they feel?
We want all the feels. To walk in, we hope there's excitement. We hope they walk in with a smile. I think what's even more important is how they walk out. But it's a 5-wing museum. We're gonna cater to every generation. So I know our kids probably wouldn't be too excited to see John Mayich's gloves or anything like that. They want to do the virtual reality and the interactive. So we will have portions of interactives. How hard can you shoot the puck? Maybe it's time versus Grace Zumwinkle's slap shot or Taylor Heise's or TJ Oshie's. And then there'll be the nostalgia of the display cases and stuff like that. But our hope is that people walk out and they feel inspired. A little boy and girl want to pick up their stick and maybe go home and shoot pucks and maybe hopefully one day get on the wall. Whether that's a state champion, whether that's a youth tournament state champion, or they want to be an Olympian, a professional hockey player. But we hope that people feel inspired. And for the older generations, we hope they walk out feeling very Minnesota proud and nostalgic.
Yeah.
And I will add too, you know, the Minnesota Hockey Hall of Fame and the Five Wing Museum is the driving force, but the concept that we've put together is a 120,000 plus square foot facility. And so the central hub of it all will be that Five Wing Museum, but we will have a one-of-a-kind rink as well attached to the facility, and a 1,700 person performance hall that has the capabilities to host the induction ceremony, other large galas, weddings, corporate events, and then live entertainment as well. And then you move to the second level and we have a full ballroom and meeting spaces and 1 or 2 restaurants. So we're really, you know, as hockey is all about community, we're trying to create this community hub that we always say, once you walk through the doors, you're trapped for at least a day. So we'll see how...
It's a very ambitious project. I've had a chance to look at some of the renderings, and I think we'll be showing them during the show as well. But it's big time. This isn't a typical museum. Inside, in terms of the size, the fact that it does have a venue for weddings and events. It's got a sheet of ice, NHL-sized sheet of ice, correct?
Yep.
Correct. Yeah, and Natalie can talk a little bit more about the actual ice rink, but you know, when we started to build this project, and we work with our architectural firm downtown Minneapolis is ESG, and they have been great putting our vision into renderings at this point. Now we're moving into the SD phase and really having some fun meetings about internal design and moving it to that next step. And it's true, we wanted to create that community hub. And it's a one-stop destination for, you know, everyone in the state and outside of the state to celebrate hockey and feel that community sense when it comes to what we're going to provide.
Well, you and I were both with the Minnesota Twins when Target Field opened, and I know what it's like to build a facility like this. You know, I was involved in building Target Field, and it is a massive undertaking. So
I was just cutting my teeth during that time in my professional career, but from what I was a part of during that time was fun. And it really, you know, Natalie and I have been, you know, blessed to be a part of this project, as it is truly a one-of-one legacy project. And our goal is to hopefully let our kids celebrate it, our grandkids celebrate it, and so on and so forth, because it's truly something that the state is missing, and it's something that now we can hopefully bring to life with everybody else's vision as well in mind.
Yeah, fantastic. Let's talk a little bit more about the sheet.
Yep.
Who will be playing there?
Yep.
Is this high schools, college, youth teams, all of the above?
All of the above, yep. Right now it's a 1,300 seated venue. NHL sheet of ice, 5 to 6 locker rooms. 2 of them will be snazzed up a little bit to be more collegiate NHL style. But the goal is, again, it's grow the game. So, you know, we envision our activations from the Minnesota Hockey Hall of Fame having Mike Jamborees, youth tournaments, camps and clinics where our ambassadors come out and they get to be on, the little boys and girls and of all ages get to be on the ice with these Stanley Cup, Walter Cup winners, you name it, NCAA champions. And then, as of right now, it's not gonna be a home to any team. We are the Hockey Hall of Fame for the entire state. We want to welcome everybody in to play a game. We envision spotlight games of the week, high school hockey spotlight games of the week. We've already been approached to host a section championship of a high school section tournament. So we'll have seating on both sides, and it's going to be a great venue. The other cool thing to mention is, as of right now, it is sunken into the ground. So when you walk in, you're actually walking in at ground level, and you're going to be looking down, opposite of Williams Arena, where you're looking up at the court. So it's going to have a really great atmosphere. And we want it to be a rink where when kids have it on the schedule and parents have it on the schedule, it is circled. I remember as a little girl, Mariucci was the it rink for us growing up. And when we got to play where the Gopher men's hockey team played, we were starstruck. And we want that same feeling to be invoked with our rink.
Yeah, fantastic. Andrew, who has stepped forward so far to support the project? Obviously, you don't get something of this magnitude done unless you've got some people who really believe in it, and those people oftentimes have money.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah, and to Natalie's point at the beginning of the conversation, there is a development group that's part of this as well, that's helping with the development of the project. And we have over 150 ambassadors now at, like I said, all different levels. And now we're moving into the phase of corporate partnerships and donor conversations, and we've had great success and great conversations with that so far. As you mentioned, it's a big project. And with a big project comes big dollar amounts, and we are confident that we're going to get that. And what's unique about this project too is the marketing visibility for companies. Mm-hmm. It's not a four-walled square building that you hope to put a name on, right? It's something that, with the rich history of Minnesota companies as well, for them to look at it as a unique opportunity to be a part of telling the story. And that's our mission too, is to tell our corporate partner stories as well. Because as we sit in these meetings, everybody has a tie back to hockey. They truly do, whether it's their kids playing or they played, or they're a grandparent of a child that plays. I feel like a lot of our corporate conversations get derailed because we end up just talking about hockey stories back and forth. Yeah. So to feel the community support and the corporate support right now has been really exciting. And like I said, we have multiple tiers of visibility for that, and that'll be a big component to close the gap as we get closer to putting shovels in the ground.
Yeah, fantastic. It's going to be built in Inver Grove Heights, not very far from where we're filming today. What factors went into deciding on that particular location? Because I would assume that there were communities that coveted a project of this size and scope.
Yeah, when we made the public announcement back in August, we were down to, I'd say, 1.5 locations. And when we made that public announcement, we had 8 other cities reach out to us and say, please have a conversation. And as you mentioned, Inver Grove Heights, we did announce them as our future home. They're welcoming us home, and every time that we went back into a meeting with them, they checked every box. And our 3 boxes that we really wanted to focus on was location, visibility, and access. And it is located right on 494, right near Viking Lakes, the Viking headquarters facility. And it's a statewide initiative too. So we want to make sure that the out-of-state hockey fans and guests it's easy for them to get there as well. And as we talked through it with Inver Grove Heights, they've been looking to transform that northwest area for quite some time as well, and they looked at our project as being the right fit, and we looked at them as being our future home.
For listeners, Natalie, for listeners who know you as a player and a leader, how do you describe your own hockey journey that has led you to this place?
That's a good one. I'm just grateful and humbled that I certainly didn't get into hockey thinking that I'd be a CEO or running the Minnesota Hockey Hall of Fame, or I'd be in Hall of Fames. It was just something I woke up in the morning. It was the first thing on my mind, and I loved to do. It was just something I was passionate about, and the doors it opened for me, the countries I got to see because of hockey, the people I got to meet because of hockey. It's honestly just given me so much, and I'm very grateful and honored to be a part of it. And if I can give back in any way possible, I think that's what life's all about, is coming full circle. And it's done a lot for me, and I want to give back in any way I can, whether that's being on my skates and being on the ice with little kids, or being behind a bench, or helping build the Minnesota Hockey Hall of Fame, whatever it may be. I feel indebted to it, and I want to give back.
Are you still skating?
I do still skate, not in like competitive equipment, but I'm on the ice a couple times a week. I coach my sons in Prior Lake community, and then I still do some small group private lessons as well. So, but nothing competitive anymore. Yeah. No time for that.
Andrew, how about you? Did you grow up playing hockey? Is this a sport that you're passionate about, or have you? I mean, tell us a little bit about your journey that's led you to become the president
Yeah.
of the Minnesota Hockey Hall of Fame.
I think everyone in Minnesota can say they skated growing up,
Yeah,
right?
not-
I would
not
say,
me.
I would
really?
say,
I'm one of those rare Minnesotans who never learned how to ice skate. I tried it a couple of times. I was terrible at it. I fell. I said that I don't like the cold. It was a bad combination for me. So
Yep. No, I don't have the skills that Natalie has, or all of our other ambassadors. But you grow up a sports-minded boy in Minnesota. You play 5, 6, 7 sports if you can, and then I move into college and I realized I was a tackling dummy on the other side of it, and said I want to move to the other side of the desk, and that's the sports business desk. And starting my career in PR. At Mankato, that's where I truly fell in love with the game of hockey. Just being a fan of it growing up. I grew up in small town Minnesota where we didn't have hockey as an organized sport. You play with your buddies, you get out there, but you see the game grow both on the female side and in the smaller communities now. 25 years later, 30 years later, it's remarkable. So I really grabbed onto sports business through college, and then, like you mentioned at the beginning, spent time cutting my teeth with the Vikings and Twins, and moving cross country with the Tampa Bay Rays for a couple of years, and all of that was in PR and marketing, and then coming back to the Minnesota Twins and spending 10 years with the Wild. It really, I love the competition, both on the court or on the ice or on the field, but you get that same passion through the business side of it as well. And so when I was approached by Natalie for this project, I was humbled to even be asked. To be able to be part of this legacy project is pretty humbling and remarkable, and I'm excited for it.
I'm going to ask you both this question as we near the end. When this project is complete, what do you hope it adds to the legacy of hockey in Minnesota?
You want to go first?
Ahead,
All right.
ahead.
It goes back to building something special and taking the risk, taking the jump, and allowing it to be created with so much other support, right? Like we've mentioned throughout this whole conversation, the corporate partners, the ambassadors, the communities, we're hopefully just that driving force to be able to create something special that will live for decades on. That I know Natalie says this often in our meetings, that it's 2025, 2026, and we don't have one. But when we open those doors, it's going to feel like it was always there. And it's going to feel like this is something that is just ingrained in Minnesota. And it is. Hockey is Minnesota. Minnesota is hockey, and that's what the Minnesota Hockey Hall of Fame is going to be too.
I'm going to say just a simple word of pride. I think anytime you open the news and someone wins a Super Bowl, a Stanley Cup, who was from Minnesota, I think we feel so much pride that when people walk through here, they're going to feel a lot of pride to be proud of this state, proud of the hockey community, and they're going to walk out with that pride and proudness about them.
Lastly, how can the public support
Yep.
the Minnesota Hockey Hall of Fame? Where can they go for more information?
Yeah, we do have our official website up. It's mnhhof.com. And we also have our Founders Puck Wall as well. As it's, you look at TCF Bank when it was built, it was brick by brick, right? And we wanted to lean into the hockey world, and so we have our Founders Puck Wall that the community members and family members and individuals can go on and donate and have your name live forever in the Minnesota Hockey Hall of Fame on a puck, on our puck wall. And then we're just actively talking to corporate leaders right now on marketing opportunities within the space, and that information is also located on our website.
Fantastic. And the website one more time?
Yep, mnhhof.com.
Fantastic. Natalie Darwitz, Andrew Heydt, thank you for being on Behind the Game. Best wishes as you bring this incredible project to fruition. I think it is missing in Minnesota. I'm excited to see it come to life, and I know you two are the right people to spearhead that effort.
Thank you.
Awesome. Well, thanks for having us.
And thank all of you for watching Behind the Game, presented by KLN Family Brands. We'll see you again next month.